Good evening. When veterans return home from war, the U.S. Army is failing to adequately screen them for signs of post-traumatic stress. That was the testimony in an Anchorage courtroom today, where a young Army specialist was sentenced to at least 53 years behind bars. The crime, murder. The victims, as we hear from Channel 2's Dan Fiorucci, the soldier's own wife and young child.
Army specialist Kip Lynch had a stormy relationship with his 19-year-old wife, Kelly. But when he returned home from a combat tour in Afghanistan and then shot and killed her, along with the couple's 8-month-old child, Kirsta, friends were absolutely stunned.
I just didn't think that would ever happen to him. He seemed stronger than most.
Today, in an Anchorage courtroom, soldiers who had served with Lynch in Afghanistan say they all experienced awful things during that 8-month tour in a combat zone.
You become almost emotionally cold. You're going to see things over there that you wouldn't see over here. We saw children killed in the crossfire, some from friendly fire, some from enemy fire. I've seen more bodies than I can count.
The first and foremost, strongest predictor of future violence is past violence.
But in the end, the Assistant Attorney General argued that whatever trauma Lynch had experienced in Afghanistan, he simply could not be released onto the street for decades to come. He's just too unpredictable and dangerous.
Case of such extreme and aberrant behavior. First, isolation, and second, absolute community condemnation.
In Mr. Lynch's case, the Army could have done more.
Judge Michael Spaan said he was troubled that Lynch had returned from Afghanistan and seemed to have not been adequately screened for post-traumatic stress. But in the end, the judge found Lynch responsible for the killings and made sure he'd spend at least half a century behind bars before he'll even be eligible for parole. Dan Fiorucci, Channel 2 News.
And the Lynch case is not the only homicide that seems to be linked to post-traumatic stress. Just last month, a former U.S. Navy serviceman was arrested in Anchorage for allegedly injecting a teenager with heroin. 14-year-old Jenna Dolstad later died as a result of that injection. The family of the suspect, 26-year-old Sean Warner, says he suffered post-traumatic stress as a result of service in Afghanistan. For complete coverage of the Warner case and the Lynch sentencing today, check out our web article on KTUU.com.